Hello, everyone. This is Florian Munch from Mining Scout. And today I have a follow-up interview with an interesting person, Alex Miskovic, who is president and CEO of Terra Balcanica Resources. We've had an interview a couple of months ago and want to have a follow-up here and also a look at the resource market. Hello, Alex.
Good afternoon, Florian. Thank you for inviting me again, and greetings to all of your audience.
Thank you, and thanks for joining. I would like to start for people who haven't seen the other interview. So we've done some general introduction on the Tethyan Belt, where you are located in Eastern Europe, and the jurisdictions and so on, and about yourself as a person, where you come from, and what's and the projects. Could you give us an overview about the business model? How do you want to generate shareholder value with this company?
Sure. Terra Balcanica Resource Corp is a junior Canadian explorer. We are duly listed on both Canadian Securities Exchange and the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. We are operating over a portfolio of about 350 square kilometers in the Balkans, primarily two jurisdictions, Serbia and Bosnia. In Bosnia, we have a Via project, which comprises 3 licenses, and on those 3 licenses, we have identified 3 different targets. In Serbia, we have 2 separate licenses, Kaludra and Ceovište. They're about 130 kilometers combined. And overall, our business model centers on the fact that we are strategically positioned at the doorstep of a continent that's badly starved for resources, being Europe, and also mining for critical metals needed by that continent. We are polymetallic by the nature of our portfolio, so gold and silver, precious metal basket, as well as copper, zinc, lead, and antimony. That's just what the nature gives us in the Balkans. At the moment, the company is pursuing its phase 2 drilling program, which is a continuation from the last year's efforts, and a very exciting time because we are about to, we believe, on some of the targets we have certainly post-discovery stage. On some other ones, we are about to enter the discovery stage. So very prospective and opportune moment on the sort of a corporate development curve right now for Terra Balcanica.
Okay, sounds great. So 1 project in Bosnia, 2 in Serbia. The Bosnian project is your flagship. Can you elaborate on this a little bit, and especially what has happened in the last month? So what's new?
So last year in 2022, we conducted a maiden drilling program, about 2,000 meters of drilling. And those 3 targets I mentioned within the Via package of licenses are Čumavići, which is a 7.2 kilometer silver-dominated epithermal massive sulfide vein-hosted system that's very shallow to surface. And that's where primary drilling efforts have been focused. We have also discovered a combination of a gold skarn and a porphyry target southeast of Čumavići. And then the third target is just a classical porphyry copper moly target that we have also partially drilled last year. Since we spoke last time, Terra has conducted bridge financing back in December of 2022. We are currently in the middle of another round of financing, and the funds from both of these rounds of financing are actively being used right now on the ground. So what is it that we are doing right now? We have completed about 1,000 meters so far of phase 2 drilling since we commenced on the 4th of April of this year. So about 12 or 13 holes after, primarily focused on Čumavići. Čumavići is a system that we know very well geologically. It's not really a mystery to us. It's a southwest trending tabular body between 6 to 12 meters thick that we basically keep on intersecting in progressive step outs from the place where we focused drilling last year. So last year we were within the area called Čumavići Ridge. And what we've done this year is we've stepped out 2 times 40 meters to the southeast, so collectively 80 meters to the southeast, and also stepped out in quite a brave and courageous way to the northwest, so 650 meters to the northwest. Now, you may ask why such a massive step out. Some people wouldn't even call it a step out because it's an entirely different zone, but we believe the system is continuous or semi-continuous along this trend. And the reason why we went all the way up to the northwest is because we have this wealth of Yugoslav data from the 70s and 80s, and the Yugoslavs have at that time did some very preliminary poking around, some preliminary drilling, and they indicated in their archival records that we were privy to, they indicated that the zone to the northwest featured positive drill intercepts. So we went there, put a couple of drill holes, and again, we're not surprised. We did intercept the same type of mineralization. So now the story really is, as far as the Tromic is concerned, of slowly closing that gap in a very systematic but a prudent way by relatively significant but not outlandish step outs of maybe 40 to 50 meters, trying to close that gap and prove the continuity of that body. I mean, if we just take that segment of 650 meters length and assume that it's even half of it is mineralized, assume mineable body to about 200 meters depth or so, and assume average thickness between 7 to 10 meters at a grade of roughly 500 grams per ton silver equivalent, like we've had last year. I mean, all of these are assumptions. We are already talking, upwards of 30 million ounces of silver. Again, this is just our back of the envelope calculations. What's really encouraging is that Čumović Ridge is only one of the targets. We have Seoce, we have Joševa, we have Čumurnica. All of those things are basically segments of what seems to be this corridor, as I like to call it, 7.2 kilometers long, which then allows us to basically, by looking at different places, which are only about a kilometer or two apart from each other, keep on adding to that tonnage and keep on adding to that volume of rock that ultimately will form a mineable body. When it comes to other things such as metallurgy, so far, even though we haven't done anything too detailed, we've done only petrographic thin sections. It looks like it's going to be fairly easy to resolve polymetallic assembly of metals there. And also, again, I want to emphasize one more time just how shallow the system is. This is found, all of these things are found between 30 and 50 meters depth. So it's sitting right underneath our feet.
Yeah, that's very important for the feasibility in the end. Yeah, however much you find. And continuity and how big the system actually is. Yeah, that's for you to prove. But with the data you have, it may not all be 43-101 compliant and so on with the resource. But you have a strong indication what you're looking for there, and
yeah, absolutely.
Proving it up the continuity over time.
Exactly. I mean, we are certainly not in shortage of targets and good targets. I mean, again, being led by the Yugoslav data as far as the Čumović is concerned, but also our geophysical studies, our geochemical sampling. Our geologists are continuously in the field looking at the surface expressions of this mineralization and then positioning azimuths and dip angles of these drill holes very prudently so that we can maximize the value gained from the drilling. That's just as far as the Čumović is concerned. Now, obviously, what's going to be, let's say, call it a stage 2 of the phase 2 program, is that we're going to go back to Brezheny. To remind your audience, Brezheny is this massive 1.2 kilometer wide magnetic anomaly that spatially is coincident with a geochemical anomaly, which was initially defined by our geologists in 2021. And then, to make it even more exciting, underneath which sits a 600-meter wide conductivity anomaly. So this conductivity and magnetic anomalies obviously come from the airborne geophysics, but the coincidence of all three things is very exciting for us. This is a place last year where Terra Balcanica drilled about 90 meters, running 0.61 gram per ton.
And we are still talking about a zone of Vjorgozanic, the flagship.
That's right. That's still Vjorgozanic, just a different target. This one is, we didn't actually know it was skarn. Now we do know it's a gold skarn on surface, and then underneath this porphyry target that we interpret to be porphyry target, which is a massive conductivity zone. We're going to go back to it. Last year, we stopped the drilling there at about 216 meters depth. We're going to go through the same hole and just continue trucking down all the way to the center of the system, hoping to intercept what we see on the geophysical imagery as being this zone of conductivity. Perhaps, maybe put another drill hole there with a meaningful step out. And the beauty of the system is just so massive and wide that no matter where you step out, you're bound to hit the same zone that we see on geophysics. So there's no fear that we're going to lose a system. This is unlike Chumavici, which is a planar and high-grade tabular body. This is a zone, what we believe, of massive, large tonnage mineralization, so there's no fear of losing it. So maybe after 2 holes, we are going to then look at what is it that we've intercepted, pause there, and then decide what to do with this particular target within the Vyegorzanik.
Okay, a time frame. When can we expect more results for this drilling?
Right. So as far as the Chumavici high-grade silver zone is concerned, we have dispatched this week. We've dispatched the analyses to the lab, so we expect the results to be back within a month at the latest. The beauty of working in the Balkans is that ALS Serbia in Bor is very efficient, and they turnaround time is never longer than 4 weeks, which is great. In the meantime, so let's say within the next 5 to 10 days, as we are completing Chumavici drilling, we're going to start remobilizing different rig onto a Brezheny target and start preparation for this drilling of the deep porphyry conductivity zone, which then again should start at the latest by 1st of June, and then carry on through June and August. Hopefully within those 2 months, we can drill those 2 deep holes that we're going to then, of course, assay and report to the market sometime in September.
Okay, more drilling, more reports on the drilling that has occurred.
Precisely.
And I saw that recently you announced you confirmed an epithermal gold system and also porphyry copper targets at a different project in Serbia.
Correct. Thanks so much for reminding me. Yeah, that's a very exciting. Obviously, the focus so far has been entirely Bosnia, which is where the majority of the effort and the funding has gone, and rightfully so, because we do have a plethora of targets there. But then not to forget the fact that we are a multi-jurisdictional company. We do have properties in Serbia. Very proud of the 2 targets we have, or 2 licenses that we have, Kaludra and Selvište. So what we've done with Selvište, we've effectively revisited the zone. We've done some sampling there earlier back in 2021. And now conducted a fairly dense soil sampling grid upon an already known area of high gold mineralization. So we've detected rock chip samples on the surface in the northwestern segment of the Selvište target or Selvište license, which run up to 56 grams per ton gold on the surface. Then you move 100 meters down the road, you can find another sample of 49 grams per ton gold on surface. So these high-grade oxidized zones, gossamer zones that contain high-grade gold and silver, are just ubiquitous over this zone of about 250 by 250 meters. So, and then again, after running the soil geochemistry study or survey, we've confirmed that the bullseye is centered right on that zone. So basically, there's no need to be fancy about this target. The point is we know exactly what needs to be drilled. We're going to go there hopefully in Q3 of this year. And then obviously considering the high grade gold and relatively high prices of gold as of late, we're going to try to tap into that shallow vein-hosted sheeted system of arsenopyrite and quartz veins and try to basically confirm the fact that we have high-grade gold on surface in the shallow subsurface. Now this soil study and survey that I've mentioned that was ran over that segment of Selvište license has basically produced something we did not expect. So northeast, about a kilometer northeast of this high-grade gold target, we have also identified a zone of a 900-meter wide bismuth, tellurium, arsenic, gold, copper anomaly on surface. Some of the azurite and the malachite samples that are clearly visible on surface run up to 2.4% copper. These are, again, rock chips. These are chunks of outcrops on the surface. And of course, as I mentioned, soil is anomalous. So we are now defining this zone that sits at the very edge, northern edge of the license, as being very prospective and very interesting for possible porphyry mineralization. We're going to go and do a follow-up there at some point in the future after we've done drilling of the gold target to see, can we actually close this anomaly entirely, how wide and how massive it is, and then probably next year try to do something about drilling it. The beauty of Selvište is that the license has been granted by the Serbian government in November of 2022, so we have plenty of time to explore. There's no need of running in danger of running out of time for the license, which is in Serbian, according to Serbian law, maxed to about 7 years. So we have plenty of time to explore both of these targets within Selvište.
Yeah, I see you're not running short on interesting targets.
No.
how is the money side? So what's your plan going forward?
Right. So just to remind your audiences, back in December of last year, a short little small little bridge financing of $500,000 Canadian was just raised, primarily supported by the insiders and the board. The idea was to just basically, provide us with that continuity of operational continuity into the new season, and before we start drilling again. We have on the 4th of April announced another financing for again $1 million. Canadian closed the first tranche of that financing last week for $404,000, and now we're working on the second tranche. Money from that first tranche is being immediately used for the Viogorzanic and Chumavice drilling. And we are currently sitting on about $200,000 in cash, of course, not counting the money that came from the financing. Hopefully, once everything's collected, we're going to have enough to complete the Viogorzanic drilling, including both targets, Brezheny and Chumavice, and then also provide enough to actually promote these results, issue them, put them to the markets. And then hopefully at some point in late summer, early fall, look for another round of financing at that time on the wings of the results that are going to be continuously, systematically, and gradually issued to the market over the course of the next 3 months.
Yeah, excellent, Alex. So I see this is a real exploration company. Things are happening. Yeah, it's not just a story. And yeah, I'm glad that we can report on this. Thank you very much for the interview. I hope that the general market will play in our hands here. Yeah, so we see very good gold prices at the moment, very good and decent resource prices. So knock on wood, and I see good progress here. Thanks so much for the interview, Alex.
Thank you so much, Florian. Good to be with you again.
Cheers.